Hello and welcome to Follow Everton. I'm Ryan, the channel host and founder, and today I've got my good friend Jan with me. Jan, just while waiting for people to jump on, how are you doing?
It's Friday. We've got a match tomorrow. I'm all right, I think. I don't know. You know what? It's really weird because it's a cup match. It's home. Okay, it's Bournemouth. It swings and roundabouts, but really, I'm not thinking about that at all. Really, are you? It's more like just a hurdle in the way. Whether we fall or not is kind of
Yeah.
we don't want to fall, but you're just looking at the big monumental thing that's on the horizon looming.
I'm quite
Mm.
excited. I know the derby is there, and I think in terms of just briefly touching on this, I know you've got a preview later with Corey tonight. Um, David Moyes, he was asked a really good question, wasn't he, about do you prioritise the league or the cup? And his answer was kind of like, we need both. We want a trophy, but we got to stay in the league. I just think we cannot get turned over by Liverpool in the last night match at Goodison, the last home derby. We've got to go and at least try
Can
and
we
get
not?
a positive
Can we not?
result. So
Can we not talk, please?
hang on,
I was
no.
putting
I
a
know I'm
lid on
upset.
that. I was putting a lid because I was putting a lid on that because not only were you talking about the actual derby fixture, but then you started talking about the last midweek evening match on the floodlights. I'm going to say, Ryan, it's 3:20 on a Friday afternoon. I don't want to cry live on YouTube. Thank you.
The thing with me is that we have certain players. Why are you trying to get in there? That's not a. The cat goes into like the under Eve's loft bit. Stop it.
You mean that bit of the anyway? Sorry. So if anyone's watching, and now Ryan's been distracted by the cat who's trying to get into the roof. I actually crawled in that roof and swept it all out myself, so I know what it's like. Maybe the cat just wants to curl up in the. Yeah, all right, cool.
Right. So all I was going to say was we've got some players like Beto who can't play 2 games in 4 days. They can barely play 90 minutes. He's blowing after 60 minutes most matches. So we have a selection dilemma for Bournemouth going into the derby. So I'm a bit worried about that.
This isn't a Bournemouth preview or a
No, but
derby
this is for
preview.
you to discuss. This is for you to discuss tonight. And if you want a little bit more on that, then you can join Corey and Jan tonight.
Jesus. And if, in case you haven't met him before, this is Mr. Snoat's first name, Cliff.
Right. Am I too young for that joke?
Cliff Snoat, as in Cliff Note. You know the whole. Oh, never mind.
Okay. Now we're here for the real deal. The 74 of you watching, welcome to Follow Everton. The last stream that I.
Maybe more Ryan's thing is afterwards we can release a Hansard paper for our viewers. No,
The last.
Okay.
The last. I'm not sure I want that bright light shining in my face. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
That one. That's better. What I was going to say was the last stream I did was a walk round of the Everton Stadium showing the latest availability. That went down.
What I sent you all those pictures for?
No, that was so I could buy my own season ticket. And then I realized people actually need to see what's available going into the purchase, and people who now are on the waiting list or are anticipating getting a season ticket are particularly anxious about what's left. So I did a video about 30, 40 minutes long the other day. We've got over 4,000 views on that. And I think we got 60 odd new subscribers. So if you're new off the back of that, welcome to the channel. But it does show that there is a demand for unique content. And so today, rather than a generic sort of match preview as it stands right now, that will follow later. Me and Yana want to discuss some serious matters.
You want to, and I don't have much choice. So there we go.
He wants to go in under the roof. I've just let him get on with it. There's nothing in there to have. It's just storage. So the first thing that sprung to me was that yesterday morning, Liverpool City Council announced sort of like a blanket ban on all parking around Bramley Moore Dock, the new Goodison Stadium, the new Everton Stadium, I should say. Now, for me, one of the biggest concerns coming up to moving stadium was accessibility. You know, I would have sacrificed a little bit of kind of the
just
prestige.
So I can state this out there for the record. Yeah. I have a personal vendetta against Liverpool City Council, particularly in relation to parking, because I will tell you this now, in the public record, I had to fight the corruption in Liverpool Council on a personal level that I experienced, because I was given a parking ticket for parking on private land. And when I contested it, the council refused my objection and forced me to go to Millennium House on Victoria Street or somewhere in Liverpool to get the blueprints and the actual architectural planning prints to prove that it was private land. So basically guilty until proven innocent. And it took months. And that was my experience, my first-hand experience of the fecklessness and corruption in Liverpool Council.
Okay, we could have brought that in to give us some more substance when we're having a rant, but we've got it out the way early.
I'd like people to go in with open eyes to say that I'm not a fan.
Okay, we don't have to be. I'm going to give you my perspective, and I'm going to try and explain the facts. And Jan, you're going to give us more analysis. Okay. So yesterday morning, Liverpool City Council announced what they're calling is the zone, the parking zone for the new Everton.
Can I just ask, by the way, when you're saying this, they're announcing this? Oh, no, carry on. Fine.
I'm telling you, Jan, you can listen. I'm giving you the information.
Yeah.
And I'll prompt you when to jump in.
Yep.
This is also for the benefit of the viewers. You might not know this, but Liverpool City Council yesterday morning announced the new parking zone around New Everton Stadium. Now, if you know that area of Liverpool, it is not the most developed area of Liverpool. There are a lot of businesses, sort of like niche businesses, like
it's off Vauxhall Road, down from the studios, underneath the railway bridge. Yeah,
absolutely. It's not like you go there for River Island or B&Q. They're kind of like your spurious niche businesses. You want artificial grass, or you need plastic, or that sort of businesses. It's not a lot of residential spaces around there. The more you go into Kirkdale, of course, you've got all residence areas. So I'm going to show you a screenshot. I'm going to share a screen and just show you this. So they're saying they're enforcing new parking restrictions around this area, which encompasses...
As you're doing this, sorry, would you please be mindful when you're talking about the parking restrictions, as a council's responsibility is to manage not just their assets, but their responsibility and duty to the constituents and the people that pay the council tax. Would you be mindful when you're pointing out where the banned areas where they've clearly made provisions for parking for a large number of people that's been in development for several years?
You can comment on that, Jan, but what I would say is that there doesn't seem to be provisions made here. I appreciate... let me just bring this up because it's better to have the context. But, the council have obviously got to protect the residents and the businesses, but I actually think that they haven't done that. I'll explain why. So I'm going to share screen. I'm going to share this one. So you should be able to see my Twitter and particularly this here now. I'll zoom in as best as I can. This is around the stadium at Everton. And if you're watching and you understand a little, if you're from Liverpool or you come to Liverpool regularly, this road here along this red line, coming along what we would call Riverside Drive.
Is that the Costco way?
Yes, but coming from Egbert Road, going down to Otterspool along Riverside Drive.
The Strand.
That is very, very busy on a normal day. When you get towards town, coming through alongside the Albert Dock on the left and all that area, coming through Toxteth can be really busy. But once you start to get out of Toxteth and once you start to get off the Riverside Drive and you come to more into town past the car dealerships, it gets really, really busy. So you think on a match day...
Are you joking? I'm sorry, are they expecting people to funnel down that way and not take the...
Well, they're not telling you how to do it, but there's only one main road going into the stadium. I'm not talking about parking just yet.
No. I understand that. I understand that. I'm sorry. Looking at that map there, you have a river which blocks off 50% of radial arterial traffic flow, which means that rather than coming from one side, you should be coming at it from the fucking east.
Well, listen, I'm based in Allerton, so I'd be going down, I'd be coming along Egbert, I'd be going along...
Generally, mass flow of traffic.
I'd be going along this red line and trying to get to the stadium. Now, there are people, obviously, north of Liverpool, they'll be coming from this direction, and they'll be coming from...
it's funny, about 12 months ago, I did have this whole conversation of discussing having maybe sequestered or thought of car parks or gone in not collusion, that's an interesting word, but in collaboration with parking management construction firms to decide, okay, fans in different areas of the ground that then head to different areas of the city, the county, the country after the match, Is it possible to suggest that they park in different car parks and you take this route to the M53, M56, A40? You know what I mean?
The problem for me here, and I've said it all along, Dock Road is busy as it is. Certainly going from Albert Dock area, Echo Arena area.
To try and get
I'm
the 10
gonna
Streets area, but the 10 Streets area, even getting a parking space at night when you go to like the music rooms or the social club or the rehearsal studios or anything like that, it's nigh on impossible, because they're all multi-purpose sort of facilities where people go and do like martial arts training and things at night. It's sorry.
Please let me finish the point I'm making. The access into that stadium from going from Albert Dock north towards Bramley Moore, through Costco, through all the Liver buildings, it is really busy. Or you're thinking about match day traffic, if you want to go anywhere down that area, it is going to be so busy, even unbearable. You're talking about 50,000 people potentially going in this area on a match day.
It's off the Dock Road. It's off the Dock Road where the lorries are all constantly going.
You already have tens of thousands of people going into Liverpool City Centre, particularly on Saturdays, socialising, shopping. So it's going to be very, very busy. And your parking on Saturdays is going to be nigh on impossible. It's really difficult in Liverpool City Centre on a non-match day on a weekend. So think about it on a match day. Now, I'll just bring you in a second, Jan. Just let me finish this point. Access from
it's very good you should say that, because in suburban areas on a Saturday or evening when there's a match day, there tends to be a lot of what might be considered then free or multi-use space, like schools and car parks and market stall and stuff that can be multi-purposed for those temporary short-term car park uses. Do continue. Sorry, Ryan.
The point I'm making is anyone who's traveling by car, and this is relevant because we're talking about parking zone. People traveling by car haven't got many routes to the area of the Everton Stadium. Town, Liverpool City Centre, where you've got your standard existing controlled parking zone between 8 and 6 a.m., which you can park after 6 for free on a single yellow line or on a double yellow line with a blue badge. You have, and pay and display, of course, in that period. But you can't, it's so busy on a non-match day anyway, with shoppers, socializers, to then have another 50,000 people or whatever. You have all these loads of people who are going to be need to park their car there because of this new zone, which we're going to talk about. It's going to be impossible to find a parking space, okay? And then what they're saying is in this area around the stadium, Jan, where I'm putting my little finger around with my cursor, they're now saying this is a new parking zone. You're showing you this purple area, which is the existing parking zone around Goodison Park and surrounding areas. Now they're putting a new controlled zone in, okay? It's not just between 8 and 6. This is 10 a.m. to midnight between August and the 30th of June. A blanket ban on parking, okay? All around here, you cannot park a car. And to add insult to injury, the disabled people who rely on the blue badge, they will not be allowed to use their blue badge in this area. I have had that confirmed. It is not like at Goodison where you can go in a resident permits bay.
Okay, so knowing there are a large number of people that need to have access to disability, what is the obligation? Because are you telling disabled people, are you marginal, essentially, effectively, if you do not make allowances, you're effectively marginalizing an already marginalized and vulnerable section of society? And I would say that that borders on inhumane or fucking criminal.
It is disgusting, yeah.
Sorry, middle of the afternoon, but I'll call it as I see it. If you're going to do that and there's no open communication of what you're doing, it's discriminating against disabled people.
They obviously want people to, write to the council to have their approval, but they're going to trial this for 18 months, I believe, regardless. I don't think this works because what you're doing is
Would you like to get trialed by? Would you like me to trial fucking you up the ass with a cactus for 18 months to see how it works?
Yeah, please, because the middle of the daytime we got loads of people watching. The problem I've got here is I'm thinking of the bigger picture. I'm not thinking selfishly. I'm going Everton. I need to park. Think of the businesses that are there that want to develop, that want to get better, that want to utilize the new footfall.
Maybe
from the
want to fairly open or appeal to every fucking member of society. I'm sorry.
I know you're passionate and you're really angry. Let me bring you in on the points. Let me make the point first and then react because I can't get the points in. It's not fair on those businesses in these areas that are going to have parking restrictions enforced. Now, my dad used to have a shop in South Liverpool area, and they put parking restrictions outside the shop, and it does affect business. If you have to be able to park, those areas Blackstone Street area, Walter Street area, all of this to say you can't park there between 10 a.m. and midnight, and you need to have permits and all this sort of stuff. It is going to
What
be
about the
chaos. It is just
legitimate
a money-making
businesses that
scheme.
What about the fact that they need to resolve this because there are legitimate businesses that operate on Saturdays in that area, food distribution. I'm not going to name names, like and logistics companies that distribute to local like businesses in the Liverpool area that operate on a.
I understand that the residents probably don't want 20, 30, 40,000 cars parking around outside their house and then walking up to the game. I get that. But where do you expect people to go? This is the thing I have. Now, I'm not necessarily saying, listen, I am in the group. I'll tell you about the groups of people you will have that need to drive and park. You will have disabled people who need to park as close as possible to that stadium. Okay.
When I take my mum.
Exactly. Yes. You have people who go to work straight after the ground who need to get out as fast as possible. So, for example, I'm a musician. Saturday night, tomorrow after Bournemouth, I have to get out of Goodison 2-3 minutes before. So I'm in the car and on the M62 to where I'm driving for an event. Okay. I can't do that there if I can't get out the ground and I have to walk 30 minutes or get to Sandhills just to get to people Parkway just to drive.
You'll have people who maybe don't go to every game or go incidentally or because of their situations are traveling a lot afterwards. Like, for instance, for 2 years, a while ago, I was driving 200 miles each way just to go to the game. Now, you know, to then have to add an hour on to get a bus into their air and catch this train because you parked your car elsewhere.
Exactly. Park and ride thing. I'll come to that in a second. The park and ride thing is a load of is no good because you telling me I've got to park in town in the busiest time on a Saturday afternoon when every Tom, Dick and Harry are going into Primark, and then you want me to get some sort of coach in there. It is unpractical. But just going back to those categories, you've got disabled, you've got people who genuinely need access because they have a life. You've got people traveling from outside of Liverpool, Jan, like what you just said, doing 200 miles, coming in a large group. Maybe they've got a car with 4 people in the car, traveling up from London, traveling down from Leeds, different areas. They've got to park the car. You can't expect them to, in a group of 4, to park in Liverpool City Centre, get a train from Moorfields to Sandhills, and then walk across to the new stadium. I'll come to Sandhills in a minute. But people, you have to make provisions for disabled. You have to make provisions. All this is doing is pushing Liverpool City Council going to make a ton of money off permits. They're going to make a ton of money off fines. They're going to make a ton of money working with selling off land to private owners.
It's creating legislation to generate more income based on knowledge that people have no alternative, so they're forced into committing a crime. It's exploitative and it's fraud and it's theft.
25,000 people at least need to travel by car to that ground for whatever reason.
It's locking people in a room, then saying that you need to charge them to be in that room.
There's nowhere to park. There's no talk of any private car parks. I knew the people who run the Stanley car park, and they are very nice. I don't know whether they're going to buy some land around there. They've got been given some sort of agreement where they can take over an area. But you can't. It's like saying there's no Stanley car park equivalent there. There's nothing. There's nowhere to park. You can't do this, and then and then you're pushing it into private landowners.
But hang on.
£20.
What do we expect from a council that 3 times when we'd had previous like actual good grounds to build, a new ground, and then we're not back. But then the first time that Liverpool applied to build on Stanley Park, they get approval, but then it falls through because it turns out it was anyway.
Look, there must be some cop-ites in the council.
Speaking of cop-ites in the council, should we not go there or not?
Yeah, we're just about to move on. Okay. But in summary, there's a blanket ban on parking from 1st of August to 30th of June between 10 and midnight. It is OTT. It is excessive. It is that whole area. You're pushing everyone into small areas around here. I don't even know what's there, or this parking zone. But listen, that is a walk. Now, what they're saying, the club, they don't want you to drive. But people, we're in the real world. We're not in a fantasy land. People drive. I'm going to drive. My dad needs to drive. My dad has an illness, which means he cannot walk 20, 30 minutes. He'll be out of breath. I'm not going to go into it. Jan, you know about it, but he can't do it. He can't even do it now. He says when he goes to the match, I need to be dropped outside. I can't walk too far. He won't go to the game unless he can go with a lift. They're not thinking of the bigger picture.
But the thing is, I don't want to.
Stadium is reality. The stadium is a reality, whether you like it or not. Liverpool City Council, it's happened, and you need to help people be able to get there.
All right. I just apologies, by the way. I've been doing a lot of stuff, and I keep pressing like WASD and using the different keys as punctuation because I've been doing stuff on Linux. And anyway, so I keep cocking this up. So I'm sorry if I do something now, but yeah, you talk about that, and I don't want to have a go at any individual unique people. There's great ordinary working class people. Well, I may have been getting ahead of myself. There's ordinary people, but it's a lot of top-down decisions or failure to make decisions or a lack of communication or a haughtiness or with grand sweeping gestures or maybe, well, we won't tell them and reveal this surprise or something. It's like you can't treat people like babies or shut them around. This is going to be 50, 60,000 people in a new area, in a new ground.
Which is already busy.
Yeah, right. Now the frustrating thing is, so there's no blue badge parking. So what do you expect people to? I don't know where to go with this. Do we talk about
blue badge thing? It's
okay,
an insult to say to general people you cannot park, pay, and display, or whatever. But to then say the disabled people cannot park close to that ground, and Everton told me there are 52 spaces.
Yes,
52 disabled spaces.
Right. So this is what gets me because it's so frustrating that on the one hand, right, again, I'm not going to speak slander. It's all there in the public record. And but on the one hand, it shows a lack of willingness, and it shows almost a cowardice from Steve Rotherham. Unfortunately, he's the mayor, the Metro Mayor of Liverpool, right? And to be fair, he's left, he's won, he's bucked the trend several times and remained in office.
Yeah,
I don't like saying in power. That's a deceptive and common phrase, right? But so he was an MP for Walton, clearly the area, and he's Labour. He formed his own company. But well, here's my idea: he's devoted to self-improvement, the regeneration. He did a degree in like urban renaissance and stuff like that. Fantastic. All right, great. But where's the pudding? Where's the proof, right? Is he truly working class, or is it just a coincidental overlap like champagne socialism? Because he's got his own business, or he did do that, And then he's talking about, okay, I get it. He says things that are very clear and touch people, and this is not anything anti, because I do believe strongly in justice for the 97 and sorry, I nearly said 96. The Hillsborough laws might be coming in, but on the one hand, while he's talking about did he ask Murdoch to close the Sun and the Hillsborough, the South Yorkshire police corruption, well, where was the corruption in the Merseyside police, which has obviously come out in the wash? But he asked for he was one of the 16 signatories to a letter opposing further austerity in January 2015, and he was buddy with Jeremy Corbyn, right? So he's done a lot of stuff there, and proof in the pudding about rail. He and Andy Burnham stripped Northern Rail of their franchise because of their failure, and now Merseyrail is doing so much better. They've had nearly £500 million worth of investment, right? There was a new or regenerated station at McGoal. But the most disgusting thing is, knowing all this, right, what else is he doing? Because he's been told that something isn't ambitious enough, and he did a book about he wants to improve connectivity to the airport and the stadia under his new leadership in 2024. But the book that was written about him has just been described as painting them in too much of a positive light. So it's like, okay, so you've done this from the goal. We were the first country or county to declare a climate emergency. There's very forward thinking, but you're talking about Sandhills. Now, sorry, let's go into Sandhills so I can sort of join those two together, if you don't mind, because do people know that that's the closest
We'll just bring that in now. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but I've got so much information here about Sandhills, which is
we're going to come on to it now. I'm going to ask you about it. So, guys, basically yesterday on the back of this, Steve Rotherham, who Jan's been giving us some information about. Hello, Charlie. Nice to see you. He put out what I thought was kind of like a David Brent style Alan Partridge video. It was like taking the piss.
Because his last tenure, he said that he wanted to fight the scandal of rough sleeping in Liverpool. Now you go out on any night out, you walk down Bold Street or Lord Street or Paradise Street, it's appalling. I could cry. It's fucking hot. What's been done? £8 million compared to 460 million for Merseyrail, and then you're saying, "Oh, that's good enough for Sandhill."
The way that Everton have gone about things now with the new ground is all about inclusivity. Okay, I know a lot of people in the comments who've messaged me privately will describe it one way, and I know others that think it's great. For example, faith rooms in the new ground, gender neutral toilets. We're going in a direction that is about including people and making people feel safe regardless of who they are or what they believe in. I'm not
Yes,
going to
no,
give
sorry.
you my
All I'm going to say is I
we
don't
don't
want to
need
have a
to give
go at
you
you
our
for being.
opinion on this. We don't need
I
to
don't.
give our opinion. But what we do need to say is that the club have done that, but then I wish they'd just stamp their foot down with the council and say, look, we're 2025. You can't say disabled people can't park. How can you do that? We're meant to try and include people and not punish them for having issues, for having problems. So it's wrong, Anne, isn't it? That on that basis.
Unless there's a clear dialogue, because this is what I'm saying. It just shows a fecklessness or a complete lack of regard or consideration for other people's lived experiences. That what you need to have people protest that you can't speak up on their behalf and demonstrate sympathy, empathy, right? The ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes. So what? Potentially Friedkin or the club or the council or something might, I don't know. I don't want to name names here, but if this is going to happen, you'd imagine there's something behind the scenes, which is the club have registered tickets. They ask you to nominate. You can get a one from the council. All these schemes that are possible so that it's people not exploiting it. You can get a match day pass because you've got a season ticket, or you go there's all ways around this to do this, to make it accessible, for your reason to be there. I mean, people have the right to access, like in Scotland, the right to roam. You don't have to explain why you're anywhere and why you want to have the right to do that. I understand why the council then have to have, it's this whole big versus small.
They don't want 30,000 cars.
I understand it. But if there's going to be that many people there and it's unavoidable, it's like the principle of an unjust law is no law at all. If you see enough people doing a thing, it's like the foot. It's what happens in parks and on green spaces and verges. You end up with a thing called desire lines, and what the council then design, or park architects and planners design as the footpaths, people don't use them. They walk where they want to walk, which is, if you've got 30,000 sorry, I'm just gonna it's ridiculous. But I just think that if there's going to be some conversation about it, right? If they're going to build a multi-story, or there's going to be something at the ground, or some company's going to do it and step in, or just anything, you need to let people know. Like, oh, why? Why do we have to do that? Well,
this is a week
you expect them, because you're expecting their custom. It's not. This is what I mean. That the whole social contract's gone out the window. People go, they know every single one of their rights, but they won't accept any one of their responsibilities.
Why can't Everton? I'm going to come to Sandhills in a minute. We're talking about parking at the moment and accessibility, driving, because for me, it is the biggest thing. The vast majority of people drive and park their car to go to football games.
Or they will do when they go to this, because we won't have the walk to ground ratio.
Why can't Everton buy a plot of land off Peel or these Friedkin group and build a big multi-story? Why haven't we done it? They've had 5 years. There's
because
people
it would have very little. It would have very little use besides football match days. So, as I suggested, why don't we? Yes, okay. Why don't we do things like buy several and use them as like, and do it in collaboration with a business that doesn't open, or can use it as a car wash, and people can park on certain levels where they're willing to pay.
They would make a fortune. How many cars do you think would park on a match day?
I've no idea, right? So you could have a car wash business. You could also have a market. People could possibly go, like, for instance, think of the people that go to the football and leave people at home, or go out idly
50
shopping.
grand a week. Even if you got 5,000 cars.
I'm just
5,000 cars a week paying a tenner is 50k, Jan. There's money there to be made.
Yes, but what seems like common sense to me apparently isn't common sense to people, because I'm, high functioning autistic. So,
Okay, right. Let's talk about this Sandhills thing. So, Steve Rotherham, let's watch the video together. Okay, let's get it up.
Present. Are you going to screen share it?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Yeah, everyone gets to watch this. I haven't watched it because Ryan was like, "Oh, I'll show it on the video." Here we go.
Everton fans are getting very excited about the new Bramley Moore Stadium. But But we've been thinking about what we need to do to get fans to and from that fantastic venue. And so we've built this new fan zone.
Pause! 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 Pause!
Ensure
Pause!
get people
Pause!
to
Pause!
and from
Pause!
the platforms
Pause!
as quickly.
Pause! Please. Please. Is anyone getting vibes of, I can't explain it, like now coming footbridge, and it's like, you know, now featuring flower bed, right? But are you also getting the vibes of those is it hauntology, those 1970s, or they're made to look like 1970s educational videos that aren't actually about, like what was it, the Helsinki effect or something, where somebody's face disappears. I can't.
Are we gonna try and watch it again?
No, I can't take it seriously. By the way, sorry, people are making very serious points. Henry B here has pointed out a thing that probably quite a few of us know, that Peel Holdings or Peel Port Holding, like an affiliate of that, own or have the leasing rights to a lot of the dock property along those roads.
We're going to try and watch it again.
Are we?
We've got to watch it. To be
Okay.
people who haven't seen it, it's for the benefit of them as well.
I know Everton fans are getting really excited about the new Bramley Moore Stadium, but we've been thinking about what we need to do to get fans to and from that fantastic venue. And so we've built this new fan zone here at Sandhills Station with our partners in Merseyrail, and it's to ensure that we can get people to and from the platforms as quickly but as safely as possible.
So that was Steve Rotherham showing what to me looks like a cattle pen, where, based on my estimate,
I'm sorry, it's a glorified queue. What you fucking
he called it a fan zone.
It's a glorified queue for a train station where they don't even have an automated fucking ticket machine.
He calls it a fan zone. He says 12 services will run through an hour. I worked that out to be 5,000 people at maximum capacity per hour.
Well, it depends on the trains, but if you have the standing on things. But what, 12 trains an hour? One every 6 or 5 minutes? Sorry, 5 minutes.
It's a maximum of 5,000, apparently. Someone was working this out.
Well, there does have to be there is like a person flow per station thing, because, yeah, I'm sorry. Let's just, for the people out there, no, stop playing that bloody music.
Look at that. That's not a fan zone. They are cattle pens. It's like queuing up for a festival. Are you honestly telling me? And we're here to react. I'm not here to be balanced.
What was that? Fire festival? Are you gonna get a cheese sandwich and an inflatable mattress?
Yeah, and so you know what they want you to do? They want you to do, your disabled nan who's going the game, who's 75 years of age, who still goes the match, she's got a season ticket, she's got to park her car in town, she's got to walk to Sandhills Station. Oh, no, that's completely wrong, isn't it? She's got to walk somewhere, then get the train to Sandhills and queue up in the rain, in the sleet, in the snow to get the train back like that. No, sorry, that was a really bad analogy. I'm going to redo that. Forget I didn't do that. You're leaving Bramley Moore and your 75-year-old grandma's got to walk 25 minutes in the sleet and snow to get to Sandhills Station, to queue up like a sheep being herded onto the back of a truck, ready to go to the abattoir, and then get taken to wherever train station she needs to be.
Now, let me just ask you. Let me ask you. Let me just tell you. Let me just tell you for comparison, right? We have a very high walk to ground ratio, right? Undoubtedly, so do Liverpool, right? But I'll just point out, that Liverpool also have a lot of tickets, or they did until recently. They had a lot more tickets that were sold single people that would come from abroad or travel to go to the games. Can you?
Yeah, sorry.
Right? The people who would then travel to go to the games. And therefore, there would be fewer people walking to Kirkdale Station, right? Kirkdale Station is the closest station. It's the same category as Sandhills, but it's 1.8 miles away from Anfield. There will therefore be a bigger spread of people who walk over that, fewer people then going to that particular station. So what you're going to argue is the council are hoping that more people will go via Sandhills, right? Which is 0.8 miles away, which is less than a mile, which is enough for arguably any fit and healthy person to be able to walk. There's not going to be this huge spread, and then what happens in a marathon by the first sort of couple of miles is you don't get all this segregation or the separation of people, the gradiated, right? But then more than that, okay, Sandhills Station is now considered, it was reassessed, but it wasn't recategorized in 2009 as a category E. And it's one of 700 stations in this country that are small staffed. It has under 250,000 trips per annum. And what, you're arguing that how many 250,000 trips per annum? What's that going to go up to, right? Right? No. Okay, so there's no ticket machines collect from the counter. There's no weekend lost property. So when people go there, which undoubtedly is going to happen, there's no accessibility, right? There's no accessibility toilets. There's no fully dedicated impaired mobility set down pickup. There's an uncontrolled road crossing. The ramp can't be deployed from all vehicles because of the positioning. It's less than 2.5 meters wide. There's no help point close by. There's no weekend helpline. There's no car park. There's no payphones or Wi-Fi for people. There's like 10 bike spots. There's no taxi rank. How?
It's a disgrace. It's nothing short of a disgrace.
Right?
I haven't come here to be neutral and balanced. I've come here to say that this is a disgrace. You're trying to pigeonhole everyone into Sandhills Station. You can only have a maximum of 5,000 people an hour. That's nowhere near enough. You want us standing like sheep and cattle. We've got older adults who don't want to stand out and queue up in there for an hour before getting on a train. And you're going to have it not even sheltered. So we're going to get pissed down with rain. You are taking the absolute piss, and then you're not giving us anywhere to park within the ground. You're penalizing disabled people. They can't park anywhere. It is disgraceful. It is unacceptable. The council
look, I don't want to make a comparative judgment. Okay, so here's what I'm saying though. People might not be aware of their own bias. The right thing to do is the right thing to do, especially when it's hard, right? Now, Steve Rotherham quite rightly read out every single person who died in the Hillsborough tragedy, quite rightly, so their names were immortalised in the Hansard Register and is introducing the Hillsborough Bill. That is an absolute tragedy, and I'm saying that shouldn't have happened. Now, he's in a position now where disabled people, how they choose to live their everyday life is going to be impacted and demonstrated demonstrably through this statement, is a statement that you matter less. We are not thinking about you. So unless there is action to the contrary, that's the proof.
I think the council will argue with the parking that they're protecting the residents. And they're protecting the fact that normal people who are not involved in the football would get caught up in
a lot of the people going to the football
cars.
are residents within Liverpool City Council.
Exactly.
They are residents who have a right to go to the football match and be able to park safely and to not have to feel ostracized.
Our own city.
Because of that, yeah.
For our own team, our own residents, for our own city. At least 20,000 of the season ticket holders are L postcodes, aren't they?
I mean, the number of times as well. Sorry, Peter's just pointed out as well. It's on the Southport line, and sometimes the number of times that, because I don't know if people are aware of this, the way that the fines work with franchises on the national rail grid is that trains or train operating companies, TOCs, will have to meet certain guidelines, and for each train that is delayed by a certain amount, passengers are liable for compensation if you can claim losses and various things like this, if you can prove this, yada, yada, yada. Now, what that also does is they get a fine or a penalty for delays and late trains and stuff. What it turns out is that, have you ever wondered how ridiculous it is that you're at a station and a train's delayed and then the next one's cancelled? It's because they either don't have the staff, or there's something because they've cut funding and they don't have the infrastructure, the resources, or the staff. And the fines for running the trains late work out more than them just cancelling the train and going, fuck it.
Now that there's 500 of you watching, thank you for joining us on Follow Everton. We much appreciate it. If you're a season ticket holder, if you're a season ticket holder this season, waiting to get your new season ticket at Bramley Moore Dock, or you're on the waiting list at the top tier, you're expecting to get a season ticket, or you're just curious, did a video the other day showing a walk round of the available seats still at Bramley Moore. That's had over 4,000 views, loads of subscribers off the back of it. It's gone down really well, so go and watch that. And if you're new here anyway and you've liked myself and Jan's content today, giving you reaction, showing you live content, felt really good to be able to bring in the footage and things like that to give you a reaction. If you've enjoyed it, please hit the like button and subscribe. You can also turn the notifications on. I know a lot of you like watching on X. I'd be very grateful if you can, on your YouTube account, search for Follow Everton and give us a subscribe on there, even if you don't intend to regularly watch us on YouTube and prefer the X platform, just to help with the algorithm and getting more and more views. Carol is saying this should have been sorted by now. They have had years. But Charlie is saying it's not a disgrace. It's just an issue that needs to be ironed out. Charlie, I'd argue that now if you were to say, where are you going to this match or this test event, I'd go, right, I can't park near the ground. I can't get the train because the access is, I can't even drive to that train station and leave my car or whatever. A train station, leave a car.
Well, where I live, there's no train station nearby. You have to be on a bus for about 20 minutes to
Genuinely, how would you get over from the Wirral?
The bus, there is a bus very close, but there's no train station. I'd get, don't mention locations and stuff, but I'd get the bus.
I didn't. Wirral's a big place.
I'd have to then get the bus in and then get a different bus to. I mean, I don't know what the buses would take me on those dock roads because I always just drive if I've ever been going there.
But genuine question now. The game's on Saturday. It's the first game at Bramley Moore. How are you getting to the ground? Based on all the information that you've seen.
I've no fucking idea. Drive and then no idea. Wing it. Fuck.
So you'll drive, but obviously in the areas you can't park.
Drive. No. Drive and then find an area where there's an obscure or missing road sign. Take a photograph and prove that it was not correctly signed. There was no correct signage.
No matter what the club do to force me into taking the train, because I'm in a group with my dad, with my brothers, with my partner, sometimes with Mabsy, sometimes with other family members, and there's 5 of us. We're not going to suddenly start getting 5 people on a train. And
just to reiterate to Charlie, and for loads of people that have joined us now, the closest station to Anfield is Kirkdale, right? It's 1.8 miles away, which means that over the 1.8 miles compared to the 0.8 miles, so less than half the different distance to Sandhills, there will be, and because Anfield is still rooted in a very much a community residential suburban area, there will be a lot of more walking and parking accessible. So what they're saying is they're expecting more people at Goodison, at Bramley Moore, to then walk a shorter distance to not be graduated out that occurs, dynamics of differentiate, right? So that then they're expecting all these people to jam into a category E, short, slow, low-staffed station.
Yeah, that's it. A small train station that isn't fit for purpose, that they've marketed as a fan zone when it is merely nothing more than a few metal.
It looks like, do you know that joke video of the Everton cruise that was? It's on that level of. Are you like? Please tell me this isn't a serious piece of media production.
So even if the bottom line is, let's think about this rationally and calm. We can't park. The disabled can't park. We're relying on a few private capitalist landowners to not try and rip us off £20 ago or something obscene.
Are you becoming left-wing, Ryan?
I'm not commenting on the stream, but I'm saying that I don't think it's fair to force people into the private landholders and then be beholden to whatever they want to charge. I think the council should at least have developed an area.
I'm glad. So somebody did just mention this, by the way, and we've been bashing the council, and literally because I've been looking at the time now, and somebody jumped the gun because I was about to say, though, because you just asked me, the first game is in theory at Bramley Moore on Saturday. How are you getting there? I was about to say that I'm actually going to the first test event. And we've been told that, that travel instructions will be given to us, and it's all part of the teething process to get approval, because they have to have a certain threshold of people where they then investigate these problems to do it. Because in theory, I suppose there is quite a quick. There's not.
The club
there's
will
a
know
lot of time. Yes.
because the volume of complaints from people like my father. I need to park.
Like me.
I'm not getting the
Yeah.
train. I have a health condition. I'm not eligible for a blue badge. I'm not walking. I need to get to the ground, and they will have thousands of thousands. Okay, so they're saying they're going to do it off test one.
Yeah. So Andy said this. There is a transport plan. I mean,
But they've
Andy,
got a blanket ban on parking.
I'd be very interested to know if that's one, being hopeful, which I would be hopeful too, but then relying on hope of Everton Football Club with this is then relying that they get the right answers from other people, which we're not necessarily always treated that way. But based on the fan feedback, yeah, okay, the club will
Even if we didn't, and we got the train, and let's say I went from Liverpool South Parkway on the train to Sandhills and was herded like a sheep with 10,000 other people pushing around, and you're with your father and he can't stand or walk for long periods, and it's a problem, Jan. It really is. And then to say you now got to walk to the ground a mile.
Well, the thing is as well, when you go to Goodison,
are we just hyperboling this?
The toilets there.
Are we in the wrong?
I don't know. No. Sorry, I don't know what you're on about. When you go to the Goodison now, there's pubs, there's McDonald's, there's everywhere that people can say, "Oh, I'm just popping into the toilet." Public convenience.
Jan, I don't really have anything else more to add. I'll be honest with you.
No, I mean, I was just going to say though that for those that are interested, in 10 days' time is the test event, the under-18s match. And obviously there will probably be a lot of people posting, things about that. So I'm rather excited. Have you got a ticket for that, Ryan?
For the first test?
Yeah.
No, for the second test.
Oh, what's the second test? Is it the women's game?
I would have liked to have gone to the first, actually, in hindsight, just to see what it was. No, it's an under-21s fixture.
Oh, okay.
You're excited, aren't you? Are you going with Mabsy?
No.
Mabsy's going. I'm
taking my mum.
Oh, that's lovely. Good luck with the parking. And if you need a train station, there's one at Sandhills. Just looking at some of these comments, Emma EFC, she's saying, he's having a laugh. Rotherham with an Alan Partridge sketch. Danny, very funny, he's saying to swim. Charlie saying ferry service.
Do you know it's about a mile across from Birkenhead?
What if the weather wasn't good?
Sorry?
You couldn't do ferry because it wouldn't be reliable in the bad weather.
You could do a catamaran.
Blue Callie, thanks for this. The Cookie Monster, he's saying, a new stadium in the city. There should have been plans in place for ferry and trains. They've had years to sort. I think that's the pertinent thing, isn't it? They've had years to sort parking, years to sort the roads and access.
In my mind, in my mind, it's very simple. You need to estimate, and it would have been easily done with a survey of fans of people that have bought season tickets. Where we know where you live, the postcode. Where are you coming to? What are your match day travel plans? What are the logistics of it? From that, they could have got a ballpark idea and then made some sort of long-term plan. Because look, okay, it's not the club's responsibility necessarily to provide parking, although it is a moral obligation to consider these things. And then you work hand in hand with other companies or the council. But there should always be, there should have always been some sort of plan in place, a contingency or exploration, because it would be so easy, right, to ask people to park in, because of this, a few select areas around the ground, so that it can determine that if you are going to the north or north of Liverpool, or Yorkshire or Manchester or the South, and then or the local area that you can filter out in different ways. It could be easily done in a short space of time by having match day traffic light controls in place, like where the lights are done differently so that you easily do it. They're just on different schedules. So then you can filter all the traffic out this lane, and you just have a few roads that then no parking or reserved for disabled parking only on match day this time between this time. You know what I mean? It would just be simple.
It sounds really interesting.
It's logistics. I mean, I've done this before for work. It's the simplest of things, and it's like, but then I don't know, like, how is this not being done, or if it is being done, why are we not? Why is it not being discussed to put people's mind at ease? Because there is this huge change. We're moving ground anyway. Never
mind. Peter, I haven't got an issue with capitalism at all. My issue is the fact that you shouldn't be pushed with the only option to park and pay for whatever these people want to charge you, which could be extortionate and unreasonable.
Oh, none, because it goes into shareholders' pockets. But also, Henry, Ryan is not left-wing. I am the left-wing one. Ryan gets angry at me going like, why do you hate capitalism? I'm like, oh, how long have you got, mate?
No, it's a separate thing. It's because I don't think you should be... I don't have an issue with people buying land and making car parks and making money. In that regard, you can say I'm a capitalist. But I am against certainly being told that every single person has to go. And if they want to park, you've got to pay in this car park, whatever they tell you. And there's no choice.
Freedom of choice. Ryan believes in freedom of choice as opportunist. I believe that when given the choice, unfortunately, experience shows that those with the advantage will seek to reinforce that advantage. So there needs to be external moderation of people's greed. That's my belief.
But the council could have then taken, knowing that, could have made provisions and said, we're going to have a council car park. We've got a derelict plot of land there. We can fit 5,000 cars on there. Size of Stanley Park. Oh, it doesn't exist, does it? That's the bottom line. Stanley Park's massive, that car park. Does it exist, that space of land? Or a multi-story? They've got to do it. They make 50K a week easily. That's 600 grand a year. 700 grand a year. They're just late. Listen, Jan, we've got to move on. Thank you so much. There's 559 of you watching across all platforms, Facebook, X, and YouTube. If you have liked the video, we've got one request, and it's also one that my good friend Dan Friedkin has made. I don't know if you can see that on the screen. Is that showing?
No.
Oh.
Come on, get down to Goodison Park.
This one. Do it now. That's all I've got to say. Jan, thank you so much. Are you doing the preview?
Do I have a choice? I've proved that I'm alive today, so I guess I have to.
I've enjoyed this chat. It's been great. I've loved speaking with you, and I've enjoyed it.
It's nice to see me get angry at someone other than you, isn't it, Ryan?
I'd just like to give you the bait and let you rant up. Have you got any closing words?
No, speaking of bait, thanks to Wormy for joining us. Thanks to the regulars. Sorry. Do make it worthwhile. Yeah, I don't know. I'm writing a bit of a poem about the Derby game, but it's a bit sad because it's Goodison and stuff. But I'll catch you. Maybe. I don't know. I don't even let them.
We'll see that. Anymore. We'll hear it. But that would be great to hear that poem. But I would like you to do a poem about the transport and parking and train diabolical situation. And on that bombshell, we'll leave you with Steve Rotherham's thing one more time.
No.
I know Everton fans are getting very excited about the new Bramley Moore Stadium, but we've been thinking about what we need to do to get fans to and from that fantastic venue. And so we've built this new fan zone here at Sandhills Station with our partners in Merseyrail, and it's to ensure that we can get people to and from the platforms as quickly but as safely as possible.
I think these people fly this guy. Yeah, great idea.
Mate, the queue goes left and right. Flags.
Sandhills. And on that bombshell, we'll see you soon. If we get a complaint from Steve Rotherham, it's in good faith, guys. Yeah,
look,
everything we've done is in good faith. We're not
he
trying
does
to
not
upset
make
anyone.
that video. I'm pretty sure.
See you later. Paul, thank you so much, mate. Yeah, it's embarrassing. It's definitely the Liverpool fans and the council having fun. See you.